Well, speaking of things that are crazy, what do y'all think about this whole T.I. and Tiny debacle?
Oh,
As far as what part, then?
The
That,
allegations of them coercing women to have sex allegedly with them threesomes and like making them take drugs and stuff.
now, now, from what I was, the people that I was seeing their little stories or whatever that they had about it, it was more so they would ask them. It wasn't to me. They wasn't forcing them. They were saying Tiny was the one acting sick more so than Ti.
That's what
But
the girl said. But
every time,
also,
every time
also,
Ti's name, sorry, God,
the woman who is the accuser, apparently she's somebody who they were friends with, and they said that they have been having problems with her for a while now.
but that's the girl dude talking about the gun got put to her head.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
that
She's
girl.
the one that started the shit. She's the
yeah,
one
but
that
isn't
started
she
the shit.
saying that people inboxed her and was telling their stories about?
So
Mm-hmm.
did you go through the stories though?
No, I mean I watch
Yeah.
people commenting on it, talking about the stories, and the one where allegedly the girl was saying that she got drugs, showing up what happened, but she woke up and both her private parts was hurting and stuff, and
Now that was probably the only crazy one out of them. But all the other ones was like y'all agreed to have sex with them. Now whether they offered you whatever and you turned it down, that's you. Or if they offered to you, you took it, that's you. Like you was partying or but
mm-hmm.
a lot of the sexual stuff was consensual. That I was
I mean I don't even um I'm struggling with like are these stories made up by that girl because they kept saying that they had trouble with her? So are these stories made up by that girl? If they're not made up by that girl, like I could definitely believe that somebody they go to the strip club or
Mhm.
whatever, and they might see a girl that looks good and they tell her, they want to come home and da 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 da.
Mhm.
She gets back there thinking that they're gonna have the standard threesome, and then they doing Molly and
Mhm.
Coke and whatever,
Yeah.
and this might not be all of what I signed up for. Like I wasn't trying to do all that. So now, like,
So
I'm out.
at that
So
point, you
then
should
you
leave.
just get kicked out at that point.
At that point, you should leave.
But yeah, at that point, you should leave. Now, what I'm wondering is like, did they have them sign some sort of non-disclosure agreements? Because these allegations are just popping up out of nowhere. Like you didn't hear nothing about this about Tiny and Ti. Like it wasn't even like because sometimes you'll hear little whispers about stuff that people do or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody really gives the allegations any weight. But this it seemed like these allegations came out of like left field.
Man, I just think it's the result of niggas partying too hard and doing stuff that the average person ain't used to, and it's catching up with them. Simple as that. Like you try to pay Ti out to be holier than thou. Tiny did, and it caught up to him because she shouldn't have never butted into what they was talking about. And once she butted in, chick went in on her, and that's what started just a snowball effect. But to me, a lot of the stories, even if they were true, there's probably like only two or three of them because the dude that I was watching, he was going through all the allegations that was on chicks DM,
Mm-hmm.
but only two or three of them seemed like it was like illegal shit. Like everything else was like just a crazy party host or like you know what I mean, like stuff that like you said you would like no, I'm going home type shit.
So what you're saying, I mean,
Like
so
we
what,
all know that stuff with the gun, him putting the gun to the chick's head. Of course, that's Ti back in the day. I could believe that. Like
mhm.
that's Ti back in the day. Like, but as
And
far as
that was
like
old. She said it was old when it
it was like
happened,
2000. It's
or
like 2007.
yeah, like when it happened. But why is you bringing that up now? Why is
And
she
what?
bringing up old shit?
So I got a question. So, did the incident with the gun happen before or after her kid was calling him uncle or whatever?
I think the kid still calls her uncle. I think they just fell out again. And she's talking
Yeah,
about
that's what
she
I was
never
about to say.
brought
So
it
that
up.
happened in 2007, but they continued to be friends.
Yeah.
Like they continued to be associates. She was recruiting some of those girls. They said,
And that's
you
what
know,
she
it
said,
was their
like,
whole big party thing.
because
So
Tiny,
now,
yeah, because Tiny said it was like, she was like, Dad, you was just over there, like, calling me uncle 2 weeks ago.
right, right,
Well,
right,
first of all, anybody who put a gun to my head, I'm severing ties immediately. Like my kids will not have nothing to do with you, let alone be in your presence to call you uncle, whatever. It's not gonna happen.
Man, I done seen some people, like some drug dealers or successful hood people, just because they date a well or they got the money, do some fucked up shit to people. And guess who'd be right next to their side after they do the fucked up shit to them? That person.
Mm. Zach, you that thirsty? It's a
Mm,
shame.
there's people like that,
That
but
would
they
never.
do become vindictive and they will bring it back up, just like Chick did.
Mm.
well, I just think that for me, Tiny and Ti, they're married, so they really don't owe me no explanation of what they do behind closed doors with each other or with anybody else. Like I really could care less about it. Like about that part of it. Like you know what I mean? I just
Yeah,
from what I got from it, I figured that the majority of it to me sounded like it was consensual.
yeah.
So I was just like, okay, so what do you guys want now? Like,
But
you know,
wait,
because
what is consensual then?
They a lot of times they said that they agreed to have the threesome. A lot of the
yeah,
Okay.
girls in there say that they agreed to have a threesome. They might have been offered something and said no, or they might have been offered it and they didn't want to do it, but they did it anyway. And but they agreed to the sex part. So like a lot of times when you say you didn't want to do it and you did it anyway, you can't really I can't be guilty of that because I don't know what you're thinking inside your head. If I'm telling you
right.
that, if I'm telling you,
Yeah, no,
if I'm
I
telling
can't
you
say
at the
that.
beginning of the party and everybody's trying to get into my after party, everybody to get into this after party, y'all got to take some Molly. You might be like, well, I don't want to, but I do want to go to this party, and you do it. I can't be accountable for that.
Yeah, you can because
How?
because this is just like in the Me Too movement. They're talking about like bosses and CEOs taking advantage of women. It's not about the offer at hand at that point in time. It's about the power dynamic.
But you're trying to be in my presence. I didn't. A lot of the time, it's not a lot of the stories I heard, it wasn't that they wanted to chill with them. It was they wanted to chill with Ti and Tiny. It wasn't Ti and Tiny went and got them and brought them to the thing and then did it. It was more so, oh, we was trying to go to their after party and this is what happened.
So if that's the case, why is there a recruiter involved?
That's what they said. That's what the alleged that they were allegedly saying about the girl Sabrina. Like that was her role in the relation in their dynamics of relationship. She might have been like, oh, there's a cool party going on here. These type of chicks is gonna be here. I feel like y'all should go there because y'all might could bring something back home or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that was what was
Yeah.
happening. That's what was happening on that show Serpent I was watching. Because that's all dude used to do was throw parties all the time. So people would go to the airport and pick up like people that looked like they was just in town to be like traveling, and they would invite them to this mansion, and they would never leave because they would be drugging them. They wouldn't be nothing. They would be drugging them. They would just they would
Yeah,
just
but
drink it.
that's not the same.
I look at it like that he had a recruiter. Like we had somebody that go out and get him.
I don't
Okay,
necessarily know that that's true. Just like
we
I
don't
don't
know if
know.
any of it's true.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
think that at this point in 2021, we're talking about some shit that like it's Tiny and Ti. Like you know what I mean? Like I said, like I could care less what they doing in their bedrooms. If they're
Mhm.
doing some illegal shit, the truth will eventually come out. Like, you know what I'm saying? They either gonna pay them to shut the hell up, or they're gonna go all the way through with it and pull out receipts. Because ultimately, you need some type of receipt. Like, you know what I'm saying? And if it's not true, I feel like Tiny and Ti should do. They should sue the girl and anybody who's involved for defamation of character.
Like,
Absolutely.
like it,
Absolutely.
and again, I'm not saying Ti is innocent in all of this because I don't know him and I don't know the situations. I wasn't there, but I just look at it like, when did people stop being held accountable to be responsible for themselves? Like, when?
Right, because we live in a we live in a society of um people who want to call the victim blaming
Yeah,
culture.
like
And
I put my hand on the stove, and now I want to sue the person I want to sue Kenmore because the stove was too hot. Like,
yeah, but I mean, I think that goes back to because I remember a while ago we had a conversation and we were talking about how, if you're walking down a dark alleyway and you get robbed
no,
or whatever, and your mom always told you don't walk down that alleyway at night, but you felt like because you knew the area you was cool, but against your better judgment something still happened to you. Like, so what you're saying that, like, that's on you, right?
I'm not saying not to that much, but if you already agreed to have sex, you could throw that part out the window. So rape was out the window on that end. Now, as far as the Molly,
No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
why ain't it? If you if even in your thing, if you said you agreed to have sex or whatever,
No, because if you're coerced to do drugs and that part is not consensual, then wouldn't the whole act in and of itself be not consensual?
I don't
And
know.
I be thinking too far into it because I'm like coerced to do drugs. Like, how do you do that?
But that's what I
Because
was
like
saying, Kenya. Like,
if
when
you
are you
don't want
gonna
to
be
take the
responsible
drugs,
for
like you're not
yourself?
going to take the
Didn't
drugs.
they say
Like,
Exactly.
Tiny was
Like,
acting sick?
when are you gonna be responsible for yourself?
leave.
Leave or
Nobody
don't.
was holding you against your will. Like,
You know how many
you
times
was.
people been in parties doing the craziest things around me, and I decided not to do it, and I just stayed at the party and
Not
chilled
the
by myself.
same thing. It's about the whole power dynamic. And that's the thing, that's the whole basis of, like, that. Well, that's the part of the basis of the Me Too movement. Like, you might,
Is he somebody's boss?
it's an intimidation factor. She's not somebody's boss, but they are high profile celebrities, if you will. So that there is an intimidation element that could be present in that type of situation.
See, no, get out of here. Get out of here with
No,
that type of
you
talk.
can't. Nuh-uh,
People, that's why people ain't strong these days because they are. There's always excuses for
And
people
I
not
just
to
want
be
to say though too,
held
like,
accountable.
we put them on that pedestal of who they are. They're singers
Yeah,
and a rapper. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like
you better be held
who are
accountable
they
for
putting
taking
in
this shit back.
power for them to have that type of power over the regular community? Like a
Exactly.
random chick at a party, or like, I'm just confused by that.
Like, you better take responsibility in sniffing that coke or taking that Molly. You did that. Ti and them didn't do that. You did that. That's all I'm saying.
I'm
well,
just
based on
confused
the
by
things
that. Like, I'm I'm really confused by that. Like, it's Tiny and Tip. Like,
Now, I will say this: the one
I
thing
don't.
I don't know, Jessica, and you're probably right on that, is the consent thing does probably get thrown out the window after drugs get involved. But I'm not, you know what I mean, because people's judgments are off. But so you might be right about that. But I can't say that if I offer you something and you take it and now you regret it, then I'm responsible. Like, I'm not. I shouldn't be responsible for
But I
you
feel like,
regretting it.
but from what I heard about it, it wasn't just, hey, you want to do some Molly, or hey, you want to do some coke. It wasn't an offer like that. It was more of a coercion into taking this stuff.
But
That's
the,
like
what I.
what? Like, tell me so I could be more convinced, or it could be more believable to me. Like, or not believable. Tell me so I can better
Paint a
understand
picture
it then.
so you can paint a picture in your head.
Like them, her talking about you think you better than these other bees that try to mess with my husband and da 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 da. This is the things that I'm hearing. You ain't better than them, da 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 da, and just they're painting this real bad picture of
But
Tiny
but
like
this is
going
after
off
they
on the
this is
girls
after they
like
were
when
had
they.
the intercourse though.
So she's talking crazy to him, and then when do the drugs come into play? Like, here, take this land. Like, I'm confused.
Well, the picture that I got from it was the drugs are offered, and then the person is like, I ain't with it, and then she goes off because they ain't with it. Like, and then taking their phones, not wanting to give their phones back, and because
Every
off top, as soon as you come in the crib, you got to get your phone taken because they're celebrities and they're high profile celebrities. So
okay.
you know,
So either you're gonna be with that or you're not.
so based on that, the way that the picture was painted to me, there's definitely an intimidation factor there.
I bet you
So that at that point, though, like
You go to any
like,
Hollywood celebrity party, it's probably the same thing, honestly.
yeah, for sure. And it's been happening for years. But at that point, I feel like the people that's willing to go to these type of parties know what these type of parties is hitting for. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what these type of parties is hitting for. So in that moment, if you are within sound mind, you have the opportunity to make a decision. Not unless your intent is to do something other than just what you're going there for. And that you're with that. So you might go in with the intention, like I'm gonna do everything that they say. I might get in good with them, and maybe I could be an assistant or whatever. Like you know what I'm saying. So you went along with it. Like I don't know. I'm just saying. It's just hard for me to believe that, or just be like, okay, well, because this, that, and the third. At some point, like when do you be like, okay, I'm not with that shit. Like I'm not going. Or
Yeah, but I
you
think
get
we're
to
thinking
the
of
door,
you guys are
Society
thinking
too
of this.
soft,
they like,
man.
you gotta drop your phone in here and blah. I'm not with that. Call me a cab so I can get the fuck back. Like, who's coming to get me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just confused by that.
Yeah, but that's you. We know that girls,
Society is
especially
too
girls
soft.
who are maybe they might be at least 20 years younger than us, if not more. They're we know enough to stand our ground. And
Right.
and, and even at that age, you might have known enough to stand your ground, even at that age. But I know how how somebody who's that age could be pressured or intimidated into a
You're
For
right.
situation where you
sure.
can't.
You're right. You're
For
right
sure.
about that.
I do
You're
too.
definitely right. You're right. And
I do.
maybe I'm looking
I
at
do
it through the
too.
eyes of an
I do
adult.
too. That's why I was saying, like, we don't know the logistics of
Mhm.
Because
those
there's a
things are
lot of
important.
green people out
Those
here.
things
Like
are important, especially when it comes to involving assassinating somebody's character. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
you're going for the jugular at this point. So at this point, I'm gonna need receipts. Like I'm gonna need to know all the facts to make me
Mhm.
have a better understanding so I can judge correctly or
Right.
whatever. Because
Right.
the shit just don't make no sense.
Yeah.
I blame a lot of these tabloids for trying to impress they put the green light on it before they did the fact check too.
And right, and to be honest with you, I was really sad to even hear the allegations at first, and I do feel conflicted because I did watch Ti's IG video, and he definitely made me believe him. You know what I mean? After I watched it,
I
um,
think, but
I
like you were
just
saying, Jess,
I
and
don't
like
know. I just don't want to write anybody off and say that they're completely lying because we
Mm-hmm.
know, how it feels, especially as women, to be for people to write you off and be like, oh, she lying or
but like I was
whatever.
saying, as everything goes on, things will come to the light if it's meant to come to the
Mm-hmm.
light.
And it's
And
crazy because I now have a different perspective of it because I have a son who is a black male, and because somebody else said that he did something that he is automatically guilty of what the fuck they said. Believe like that shit don't fly with me no more. Like you know what I'm saying? So it's easy for the male, I mean the female to cry victim or be the victim of it. Males are victims of that shit too.
If this was
I
during,
absolutely
if this was
100%
during
believe
the Me
that
Too movement, he
wholeheartedly.
would have been
Um,
canceled. He would have been canceled already if this was part of the Me Too
and
movement.
right, and another reason why I feel like I'm really conflicted about it is because within recent years, Ti has emerged as a really big community leader and somebody
Mm-hmm.
to speak up and um, really speak up for issues pertaining to the Black community. So I really he gets on my nerves sometimes. He feel like that's like a cousin that get on my
Right,
nerves
right,
sometimes.
right.
But ultimately, I do appreciate what he's doing, and I understand, where his heart is as far as the causes. So, I feel like that comes into play too, as far as my level of feeling conflicted. You know what I mean?
And
I don't know.
I feel like T.I. and Tiny are probably different today than they were before all of that shit happened with T.I. Because T.I., he even admitted as far as he was part of the reason why his best friend had got killed up there in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I mean? He used to be a wild boy.
Yeah,
But I think
I'm not taking none of that away from them. All I'm saying is when it comes to people putting shit out in the atmosphere where it's detrimental to somebody's character and their future
you gotta have the
endeavors, like I feel
receipts.
like you got to fucking have receipts. Like come with facts or whatever. And I just feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like these platforms take that shit and run with it. Whereas the girlie, it was her right to go on her Instagram and say whatever the fuck she felt like, you know what I'm saying, she needed to do or whatever. But like these other places, because people respect T.I. like they do, you know what I'm saying, and they hold him at this level up here, and not just a rapper or a singer or a reality show star or whatever, then I feel like it should have been looked further into. Like, show me some
It should,
facts.
and
Like, I'm tired of
I'm
this
really
bullshit.
hoping that because apparently all of this stuff came to light because Keisha Lance Bottoms was ready to appoint him to some kind of position,
Yeah.
um, and then that's when the girl hopped on Instagram and said, "This is who you
Here's a
want to have," and
here's a true example of that shit.
mm-hmm.
Chingy. He took that picture with Sydney Starr 2 years before it was even she put it out. And when she put it out, she was trying to get on her intentions. Okay? She was
Mm-hmm.
trying to get on. People told her, go ahead, put that one out there. And she put it out there that he was involved with a transgender. That shit ended Chingy's career. That
Oh,
shit
that's what
ended
ended his
Chingy's
Is
career.
career.
that what
She just
is that what ended Chingy's career?
I never seen it. I never seen the picture.
I'm about to tell you because Sydney Starr is a transgender chick that was on Love and Hip Hop. She did get on to a certain extent. She just now came out saying that story that was a lie, and she's apologizing now for that shit.
Oh shit. She should
Like
have
that's
go
what
to
I'm
jail for that.
saying.
She should go
She
to
said
jail for that.
because she was younger and she was at a place in her life that she felt like she wanted the limelight. She wanted to get on. She wanted the fame. And she took that picture because she was a fan. She went to a show. She was a fan and happened to get that picture of her and him 2 years after that picture.
But
She posted that.
I ain't mad at that because
People should go to jail for
Chingy
stuff
lied
like
on
that,
Tiffany Haddish.
huh?
Uh-huh.
I said I don't care about that because Chingy lied on about Tiffany Haddish. He came out later and said that he lied about that. Because
Well, that's
remember
what
he
I'm
tried to,
saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? We take these shits and take it for face value, not knowing what people's intentions are underlying. Like, fuck that shit. I need some facts or receipts or keep that shit to yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm all
Mhm.
for the Me Too movement and all of that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But at this point, like, whenever you're doing some shit intentionally to hurt somebody's future, defame their character, that shit is real.
Yeah.
It's knowledge on that beat.